Yeah, so basically, you have to begin to lean in to your edge, like to what is uncomfortable to you. You have to begin to expose yourself to more of that in order to change. And it's like anything that isn't that kind of like vibe, like that kind of vibration, they would say in like the law of attraction, like community or like resonate. If you don't, it isn't this kind of resonation or that kind of shit. Like it's just my opinion. Like, and maybe you find something else that works. Maybe you like watching your mainstream news or like like maybe you get something out of that. Maybe you get something out of like your you're the like minister at your church or like your high school vice principal. I don't know. You know what I mean? Like maybe that's your experience. Maybe it's different than mine. But this has been my experience, and this has been the experience of the people who I've learned from. And so this is like my belief system. So if this is like radically different than what you think, and this is like you just feel like fundamentally at your core, like this is stupid. Like you wanna just like be a part of like mainstream society and like group think and that stuff. You know what? Like go ahead, man, because this is like a free country, like to some degree. So go ahead. But I'm coming from the frame of that stuff is absolutely stupid. Like if it has that kind of vibe, if it feels like totally contradictory to what I'm saying here, I would see that as kind of fucking stupid. Like because it just I don't see that to be true. I don't see that stuff to work. Like I don't see mainstream society like the different like systems that we have, like the educational system and like the like that kind of attitude. I don't see that stuff as being applicable like to what I see as reality. I don't see them like as compatible really to be honest. So that's what I would say is get in tune with this kind of shit that I'm saying and the shit that like other people, like I said, like Joe Rogan, like if you're into like RSD, like Tim Ferriss, like Alan Watts, Terrence McKenna, like the Dow, like all this type of stuff, like all these type of teachers. To me, I see that as the way forward. Like that's what needs to be done. I think that's the only way you're going to be able to find some kind of peace and happiness in your life. And so I'm all about that. I'm all about rejecting like the influence of mainstream society. I'm all about rejecting that kind of frame. I think it's fucking stupid. I think it's, to be perfectly honest, I think it's very fucking dangerous. Like it's crazy. Like don't expose yourself to that shit at all. Like that would just be my opinion. So definitely you got to jump in, yo. You got to get yourself involved and realize it's not going to be easy. But if you stick with it and you keep applying yourself, you keep expanding your understanding of things. Um, like I truly believe that it can be done. Like it can be done. You can change your life from where you are now to something that you're going to be more happy with and that you can be proud of and that other people can be proud of and your like grandkids can look back and be like, wow, like, damn, like my grandfather fucking got his shit together. And there is value in that. And a lot of times we aren't taught that. We don't learn that. Like, but what you're doing is important. And whether or not you want to even go to some like deeper like metaphysical like belief system around those things, like that if you don't do this in the life that you have now, you're going to end up coming back. And that very well could be the case. Like, I don't know. I don't think anyone really knows, but just, you may as well just buy into that and be like, pretty much that's probably true. So you need to do this shit. Like, if you don't do it, someone else is going to have to come back. Like, someone else is going to do it. If you don't step up and take responsibility for your life now, when do you think it's ever going to happen? Like, when? How? Why? Why would anyone ever take responsibility for your life if you don't? It's like, there's no way. It's not going to happen. You need to. It's like, a good example is during the Second World War, they would send in like giant formations of bombers to like destroy industrial sites in Germany, like to cripple the war effort of the Third Reich. And like they might have a formation of like 20 bombers, right? And going in for like a airplane factory. And the first bomber, the first plane, the the captain of that first plane, when he gives the word to drop his bombs, then all the other bombers, like 20 or 30 or 40 other bombers in that formation, they're all going to drop those bombs too. And they're just going to like absolutely devastate that factory. Like mass destruction, okay? And he knows that if he's flying over this factory site and there's like anti-aircraft fire coming up and there's like exploding all around the plane and there's like enemy fighters coming at him and like machine gunning him and like blowing up other planes in his formation, of course he's scared. Of course he's thinking like, I don't want to do this. I just want to like, I just want to like, can I just drop my bombs early, or like let's just say who cares and drop them and hope they hit without really being sure, without really waiting and taking the time to make sure that you do the job properly. It's like, that's why like we have such like respect for like the like veterans and like heroes. That's why we all want to be like someone who's a hero, because that's like a powerful thing, and because he knows that if he doesn't do this job properly, if he doesn't step up and go into the fire, go into that anti-aircraft, explosions everywhere, fighters coming in, like crazy, like situation. If he doesn't go in there and fight through that and do it, get the job done properly, and he doesn't step up and drop his bombs, and then his whole formation will drop the bombs, everyone's relying on him. Everyone's counting on him. Because if that doesn't happen, and he just doesn't take responsibility and just says, who cares? He just fucking drops them wherever and flies home, and the whole thing doesn't get done. You know what's going to happen is somebody else is going to have to come back and do that, because it has to be done. Somebody has to cripple this like machinery that is like churning through like what is good in the world, and someone has to stand up and put a stop to that. And that's basically like you in your life. Like, you are that pilot. You are that one who's leading this whole operation, and you have to step up and take control of yourself, whatever that means for you, whatever that is. Whether it's you just stop eating junk food, stop fucking getting drunk all the time, stop like being in a bad relationship with someone, stop like being obsessed with fucking celebrities. I don't know. But it's like, it's up to you. You were given that job for whatever like interdimensional fucking fate reason. And it's sometimes helpful to look at it that way, that like you like you matter in a way. Like, it actually matters that you do this, because you might not even see the implications. Like the guy who's flying that plane, he doesn't necessarily even see the results of like his bombs and the other uh, the other planes dropping their bombs, and he might not see the effect that if he destroys that factory down there, how that factory will then not be able to produce as much war material and will affect like the far reaches of this entire conflict. He doesn't necessarily see that immediately, but he knows that it's necessary, and he trusts. He has faith. Okay, not like a like woo woo like religious faith, but he believes that what he's doing is correct. So he's going to do it because if he doesn't, another person will have to step up and take up the slack because it's the right thing to do. So if he doesn't do the right thing, someone else is going to have to do the right thing. And you may as well do the right thing because that's what needs to be done. And if you're going to play this game, if you're going to be in this life, if you're going to be the kind of person that you want to be, that you can be proud of, that you can, look yourself in the mirror in the morning and be like, you know what, man, like, fuck this. Like, I'm a good person. Like, I'm doing like the real shit, and my damn ancestors can be proud of me, and my damn future generations can look back and be like, you know what, that was cool. Like he did what needs to be done. I didn't like, and this is not to say you're not going to mess up because you probably will, like massively, and it's not to say that it's not going to be difficult to unwind the years, decades, or who knows how long. Could even be like centuries, like of your like past damn lives or ancestors or whatever have been maybe dicking around and not taking responsibility. But it's possible for you to stand up now and be like, I'm gonna do this, and you might spend the next 2 decades working on something, working on this, right? And it's like the results may not come immediately. You might not be. It's not instant gratification. It's not like you just click on that link. That's like, oh, did you hear like Kim Kardashian did this and this, and oh, let me see, like in this kind of gossipy vibe. It's not like that. It's the opposite. It's like you did what was right when no one was watching, and you kept doing that. Not because it was easy, not because you got congratulated, but because you knew deep down that you did the right thing and you kept doing it. And when another person who does that same thing in their life gets a chance to see you doing that, it's going to be like, all right, man, like cool. There's value in that because like a real person that is can recognize that in someone else. So I guess this is about taking responsibility for yourself, which I'm not trying to be like like preaching, man, because excuse me, because damn, I know there's been so many times when I've like taken the easy road and just avoided it. So all the time, like I'm far, far, far from perfect, like very far from perfect. But I don't deny this stuff, right? Like I don't deny it that it's what's necessary. So I think just acknowledging that and being like, oh, okay, you know what? I fucked up that time. I have to try to do the right thing now. That's like all you can do, man. It's crazy, actually. It is kind of crazy. But it's like, I recommend just getting on top of it because there's one thing that I can say, you know, for sure. And this is that, man, it's not going to get easier. Like, it's not going to get easier. Like, it was not going to, unless you start taking your right action now, there won't be a better time. There won't be, you know, an opportunity that just like shows itself if you don't start seeing opportunities, if you don't start doing the right thing when you have the opportunity to. And that's different for everybody. What the right thing is for you, I don't know. But you need to start to work towards that and start to get in tune with like your intuition of what feels right for you. And there's different ways to go about that. But for now, I suppose just recognize that's the right thing to do. And it's like you like when you don't do that, like you lose like your own value. Like like when you build that up by saying like today I'm going to go to the gym and do squats. And you go to the gym and you do them. You're building that up. But when you wake up in the morning, you're like, I know I should do squats today, but instead I'm just going to play World of Warcraft for 8 hours straight. You're breaking that down. Okay. It's not to say you can't take breaks or you're not going to screw up here and there, of course. But you need to recognize building that up is important and you should get on top of it. Okay. Right away. In fact, yesterday, last week, it was time. When you were born, it was time. And it's hard because we all get like sidetracked in life. And a lot of that is true. Like it's, like our society does steer us like into these like frivolous directions and that's like without making an excuse. I do acknowledge that like it's 100% accurate and like you're probably right whatever you're saying. Like that's kind of something I've noticed is like a lot of times people might like say shit, like say reasons why they aren't able to do something. And a lot of times it's like, dude, you're probably right, man. Like, well, I can't work out because like, like, oh, my leg hurts, or like I can't work out because like I don't have enough money for the right kind of supplements, da da da. And it's like, dude, you're probably right. But no one cares. Like, I promise you, no one cares. You just need to get started anyway. Figure it out. It's like you see people at the gym with like missing a leg and they're still out there working out. It's like they figured it out. Like they figured out a way. So you have to find a way with whatever you have. You need to do what you can with what you have now. Or just get on top of it. It's like you're landing on the beaches, like during D-Day at Normandy, and the gate of the Leidencraft goes down. It's like hit the beaches, yo. And you're like, well, you don't have my guns like not loaded yet, or like I'm not quite worried, I'm not quite sure where I'm supposed to be. And it's like, dude, the gate is down, advance, because this boat is leaving. It's like, yeah, you can sit there on the beach and be like, oh, this sucks. Like, you know what I mean? I lost my group, I lost my squad, like my backpack fell off in the water, like but yo, no one cares. There ain't nowhere else to go. Like advance. Like, yeah, well, there's like machine gun fire coming at me. There's like barbed wire. There's artillery shells landing all around me. It's like, yeah, I know. That is messed up. But what are you gonna do? You gonna go back into the water? And like, I'm not even like even really judging the person who just turns around and just walks back out into the water. And they're just like, you know what? This is too much. Like, this is too hard. Like, there's artillery, there's fucking thousands of soldiers. Like, my life's too difficult. Like, it's too hard to work out. It's too hard to change my life. It's too hard to read books. Yo, I get it. Like, and if you want to just give up, if you want to just turn around, wade out into the water, or like play World of Warcraft for 10 hours a day, it's like, I'm not even gonna judge you. Like, it's understandable. Like, shit is difficult. So if that's the route you've taken, cool. Like, but I can't personally, like, really be a part of that. Like, I can't personally, like, to me, you're gone. Like, you've chosen, you're gone. You went out into the water, you're not even in the game anymore. You're done. Like, I'm focusing on advancing. I'm focusing on the other people who are advancing with me. Those who just kind of give up and turn around and go back, it's like, cool. Like, good luck to you. I hope you do figure it out. Maybe you will get lucky somehow and like win the lottery or find like a a piece of driftwood that'll keep you afloat. It's possible, but I'm not counting on that. Like, it's not likely. We ain't playing that way. So overall, I guess this is kind of like a motivation. Like, this is kind of like uh, a a shove into the right direction, and think that it's about failing forward. It's about failing forward. You're always gonna. It's like this constant process of like failing. Like, you almost can't even believe like the degree of failing that takes place. It's like this constant like falling apart. You're just like, oh my God, oh, I just about had it this time. Or you're just like, oh, it's like you're playing soccer and you're like just about had a goal and you're like, oh my God, like how did I not get this? But it's like over time you learn from that, and maybe eventually you might get a win. You might get that goal. You might get whatever it is you want. But you have to stick with it because there's no other way. So where else are you gonna go? And I hope it doesn't sound like negative, because I don't mean it to be, and I don't think it does, but it is like hard, right? But what else are you gonna do? It's like, buy in. I mean, you're already here. You're already alive. You've already been like manifested here on this planet. So, I mean, if you just get hooked on this, get hooked on the idea of improving, get hooked on the idea of doing the right thing, you will build something up within yourself that you can believe in, that you can count on. And that in itself will prove worthy of this life. You will prove that being alive was something that you took advantage of. And you're going to be a part of that. Like, you're going to be a part of doing that. Like the other people who came before you. You're doing the same work as Julius Caesar, Teddy Roosevelt, Abraham Lincoln, all these people, right? You're heroes now. You're doing the same thing as I'm doing, just in your own way. And we all have to try to do that. So that as a group, like as a whole, as like a civilization or like a species or just even like life itself, we can keep progressing. We can keep moving along. And it's like, I'd rather have a good time if I'm going to be alive. And that doesn't mean like everything's always fun all the time, but it means I'd rather have a good like experience, like a good like what I consider good, like valuable, like like building up like your own dignity, your own like measure of what it is to be like a respectable person. So, and it's it's like not gonna be easy. So don't count on being easy, but it's like that's what you got to do. So get up on it. Anyway, I guess that's about it. Thank you for tuning in. Hit up a like, hit up a subscribe, maybe a comment, questions. If you got any ideas for future episodes, fire one of those on the comment section, and peace out.